There we go. Hi there, people who are not here. So we're doing the product rule, quotient rule type situation, right? So we did the power rule the other day. We practiced that. You guys got like 4 out of 6, 5 out of 6, 6 out of 6 here. Check points. Way to go. We used the quotient rule to derive some of these, which was a really good time. Product rule. And then we said, well, what if you have a table? And that's where we left off yesterday, right? And then we talked about that whole like equation for line tangent. Well, let's look at one more representation. And that's what AP really makes sure that we need to know is number one, you got this algebraic representation, which we've talked about. We spent a lot of time on. Number two, you should be looking at tables of values, which is what we did. And then number three, you should be able to look at graphical representations. I don't know if you know about this, but we did that when we talked about limits as well. So we always want to look at those three representations. So let's answer these questions. It says use the graphs below to find the following derivatives. So it says f plus g prime of 3. And what we learned the other day is you could just do f prime of 3 plus g prime of 3. So you can see over here I've got a couple graphs. One's in green and one's in red. So when I'm looking for the derivative of f at 3, 1, 2, 3, right there, what is the slope of that line? Yeah, it looks like if you look right here, it looks like it goes over 1 and up 2. I know it's kind of hard to tell. That's just what I was able to pick out of the, I just clipped that picture online somewhere. So we're going to say 2 plus, and now I look at the derivative at 3 for g, which would be at like that spot right there. Somebody look at that, feel like you can estimate that derivative? Yeah, I'm saying negative 1 as well. So we get 1. Are there any questions with that? So how is it going to be different if I subtract them? Yeah, just subtract them, right? So it would be g prime of 3 minus f prime of 3. So the derivative at 3 we said was negative 1, and we're going to subtract 2 off of that, and we get negative 3. Now you can understand on the AP exam, many people in this situation would do g prime of 3 times f prime of 3, correct? But is that what we do? No. What do we have to use? Yeah, what do we call that formula? Product rule. G prime of 3 times f of 3. Plus or minus? Plus f prime of 3 times g of 3. Great. So we've already got some values here. We know g prime of 3 is what? So we got negative 1 times something plus, and we know f prime of 3 we already said was dos, which is Spanish for 2. So what I need is I need f of 3. If you plug 3 into the function for f, what do you get, Dr. Collin? 0. So I get 0 there. And if you look at g of 3, I'm going to say g of 3 is 4. You okay with that? And so it turns out that the product rule shows that this derivative is 0 plus 8, which is 8. Now, I do the quotient rule. Derivative of the top, f prime of 3, times the bottom left alone, plus or minus. Minus the derivative of the bottom, times the top, divided by the bottom squared. What's f prime of 3? 2. What's g of 3? 4. Minus g prime of 3, negative 1 times, and f of 3 we said was 0. Divided by, what was g of 3 again? 4, and what do we do with that? Square it. So in this situation, you can see you get 8 minus 0 over 16, which is 8 over 16, or 1/2. So you should be able to determine derivatives both by looking at the algebraic expression, by looking at a table of values, and also seeing a graphical representation. What do you think of that? That's it.